Please subscribe Raj Shamani Clips channel if you want to become a better leader for tomorrow and achieve your Indian dream in short amount of time with just small clips.
Okay, so let's talk about 3 positives and 3 negatives of ChatGPT versus Google Bard, because these are the 2 remarkably ahead in the race right now.
Yeah, I'm going to offer my opinion here rather than, there are a lot of tests being run and frankly, the jury is still out on which is going to get better.
Who do you think will win? Like, who do you think is a better right now, as of now, with whatever we have?
As of right now, ChatGPT is much more well behaved. And therefore, for several questions, it gives you a much well-rounded answer compared to Bard. So therefore, it wins. From an ordinary consumer standpoint, ChatGPT wins. And I'll maybe explain to you why that is so. So what ChatGPT did was they basically built this thing called a large language model, right? And let me explain how the large language model works. The large language model basically says, I'm going to take a string of words. I'm going to predict the next word. For example, you say, I love, and then blank. Most often, I think it may be you after that, right? So you can predict that next word. So it tries to predict the next word, and then it actually sees the next word, and it learns how often which words come after a certain sequence of words. So it starts to get better. And when you train it over a large corpus of data, it gets really smart. So what did they do? ChatGPT basically used the entire world of data that was available to them, which was about 570 gigabytes of data. Imagine it is to be 30 times the size of Wikipedia. So they've fed 30 Wikipedias into it as knowledge in GPT-3, which is not even as good as GPT 3.5, which is ChatGPT, and GPT-4, which has also been released. So that data size are even larger. So first they gave it 30 times the size of Wikipedia. So data, they maximized on data. Then the second thing is computational workloads. They put one of the largest supercomputers ever built for this. So they built the NVIDIA Azure supercomputer, which is built on 285,000 CPU cores and 11,000 GPUs, which are graphical processing units. Now, GPUs have been specifically very interesting in the world of AI. They were built initially in the world of video games, and those video game, it turns out the kinds of mathematics that are required to run video games are also the kinds of mathematics that are used in some of the AI workloads. So the GPUs became very important. So NVIDIA is a big player in that space, which we can talk about later. So they brought in this 285,000 GPUs, 285,000 CPU cores, 10,000 GPUs, trained it over a period of 30 days, each training run. So you switch on, it trains 30 days, no answer, and 30 days later it stops and gives you the first answer, right? That's the training period. Over 225 billion words. So this is the size of the computational load. And then they brought in the technique, a really good technique called transformer technique. This transformer technique was originally built by Google researchers. They published a paper in 2017. It was called Attention is All You Need. And that paper, for the first time, said this, how to do this large language models predicting the next word. They came up with an interesting way of doing it. So OpenAI guys imported that methodology, and then they put it on top of these 225 billion words with this compute, etc. And they added 2 additional interesting layers on top of that. One thing they did was they did something called a supervised fine-tuning. In supervised fine-tuning, what they do is you give human conversations, question, answer, question, answer. You give it a series of such pairs of information. Here's a question, here's the answer. Here's a question, here's the answer. So this was curated by human beings. 100,000 questions and answers they created, they fed into the algorithm. It learned how to do question answering.
Okay.
And then they did a third thing, which they did what is called as reinforcement learning from human feedback. So they built this system, they asked the system to provide, they would go a question and the system would provide 4 different answers. And human beings will rate, this is the best answer, this is the second best answer, this is the third best, and the fourth best. And using this, it'll learn that this is I thought 4 answers were all good, but human beings tend to prefer this one over that one. It learned human preferences. And because of doing that kind of a thing, and bringing this data, compute, and techniques, and over this very large scale, and specifically tuning it for human understanding and human preferences, they've built a system which is very beautiful in terms of its interface, the way it answers questions, the way it avoids some questions. So that kind of tech is not there with Bard. So in that sense, ChatGPT is winning. Now, Bard, to its credit, it doesn't have all these bells and whistles. It doesn't have the well-behaved nature. Sometimes it produces very good results too. Specifically, where Bard scores is in producing and automating code. So one of the things that's big changes happening is that people are no longer writing code on their own. They're using ChatGPT to write code, right? To write code, debug code, do testing, do documentation. They're using AI help. On those things, because Bard has specifically been trained on 20 different computer languages, they're actually maybe a little bit better in coding as a coding assistant. So they have different strengths, but I think ChatGPT wins overall, in my opinion.
So tell me, you were talking about ChatGPT. You said when they were feeding ChatGPT and he would give 4 answers and human would choose one answer, and the majority people who chose number 1 answer, that actually eventually becomes a training model for ChatGPT. This is what I need to answer. So as per my understanding, I may be wrong, ChatGPT gives you answers which majority of people would like.
Yes.
So don't you think that ChatGPT, if we use very often, it'll make me think like most of the people?
Yes.
It'll make me an average person because it's based on average content and average answers. It's not going to be hyper personalized with me and just going to take me, because there's a basic theory, right?
Yes.
70% people are average, 30% people are above average, and out of those 30%, only 4 or 5% are super intelligent humans, right? So even if let's say I don't consider myself in the super intelligent space, but if I want to be in the 30%, I can't be, because I'm using the assistants which are making me day in and day out by answering average answers. So my brain is now getting fed average stuff.
Yes. I think, a couple of things I'll say. One is that you are above average in a few things, but maybe average in a number of other things, and below average in a few other things as well.
100%.
All human beings will be above average in a few items, average in. So I can learn all the places where I'm below average and get to the average or even better. And sometimes, a lot of these questions can actually help me teach and learn and get me curious on something and set me off. That's one. Secondly, ChatGPT, if you're using it just like that, yes, but you can ask it very intelligently. By asking more intelligent questions, you can get much more intelligent answers. For example, you can say, explain to me like a nuclear physicist would explain. Then it would give you the much more sophisticated answer. Explain to me like like I'm a 5-year-old. Then it'll give you a much simpler answer. Or you can say that, explain to me as Einstein would have explained it. So because of the way it is built is so beautiful that just by prompting it, you can get it to behave in a very personalized way. And by giving the context, it learns from the context of the conversation, because all of the context keeps going back to it as prompt. So it keeps getting better over time. But in near future, I also expect that these assistants will become personalized in an even better way. They'll know that Raj Shamani is like this because I've had 20 conversations with him, and therefore now let me answer in a way that he will like, that a way he will learn, that he will get better. So this is only just a few months away. These kinds of personalizations are a few months away. So you will see that every human being will need an assistant that works for him or her in a unique way and pushes me to the next level. That is going to happen. That is so powerful, right? If that could happen.
That is. If that happens successfully,
yes,
and all the signs are looking like it's gonna. I'll tell you a very funny use case that I've been trying to do with ChatGPT. Okay, so what I've do. So there are multiple tabs which you can make based on how you want ChatGPT to think. Right on the left. So there's one place where what I'm doing is I feed in questions of all the questions which, let's say, my girlfriend asked me. Okay, and then I would answer. And then I've been doing this since a month. Like all the questions she would ask me, I would answer the same way. And now I have started asking ChatGPT, like whatever the new question my girlfriend asks, okay, based on all the conversation which I've taught you, tell me how would Raj answer to this?
Fantastic.
And then like, it's not spot on, right? But there are so many similarities. It started using words like the words I use. Like it was so funny. I could have never expected. There's a very funny thing which I do, that it's if I'm surprised or if I'm shocked, I say, oh, bhai. Right? And ChatGPT replied, bhai. I was like, what the hell?
Amazing.
Like, what are you even saying? So to me, that was an exciteful moment, but I was scared at the same time. I was like, if this person can talk exactly like me based on just 1 month of conversation, if I train this person for a year,
yes.
like if I train this technology for a year, it can actually come up with something crazier.
Yeah, it'll be the Raj Shamani bot, Raj Shamani GPT, right? So yes, it's all possible. So we can have a Shamani bot doing this interview next time we do it.
Thank you for watching this till the end. If you want to become a better leader for tomorrow, then subscribe our channel for more such clips.